I realize it's been 5 months since I've had a guest on this podcast, and every day it's like I have a new person pitching to me to be my podcast. Just so you all know, I do not have any random person that I do not know to be in my podcast. If you've been listening for a while, it's usually clients, friends, or family members. Yes, I had my baby brother that's not a baby be my podcast, but I'm excited because I can't wait for you to meet Uchechi Kalu, my client, my dear friend. She is a poet, creative, and all around powerhouse. She started working with me February 28th, right after getting laid off from a merger. And now 7 months later, as of today, September 23rd, when I am recording this podcast, Uchechi's already hit 25% of her financial goal for 2026 from her business. And yes, that's next year's goal. I'm recording this in 2025. And in the short amount of time that we've worked together in the past 7 months, she's landed financial coaching contracts with 5 major literary arts organizations, coached over 700 plus people through workshops, webinars, and one-to-one sessions, and led a money and spirituality hike in LA with 13 Black and Latina women because, hello, healing and hiking go together. And before we worked together, because I can't get all the credit for her greatness, is she was a poet for the 2024 Paris Olympics. So I share this because I know this year has been tough. There's talks of layoffs, being fired. Maybe you're feeling this where you're scared something is going to happen. And these are conversations I consistently have. And I'm excited to share Uchechi's story, not just for hope, but also an example. And for you to get the steps, strategies, and mindset, just in case you are curious about wanting to start a business in this crazy year where every day looking at the news, there's fear, uncertainty, and exhaustion. And despite this year, Uchechi has been able to gain the clarity of how she wanted to create not only her business, but as well life. So grab your coffee, tea, or boba, and let's drop the beat. I am excited to have our guest, Uchechi Kalu, CFPRIA. I'm just like pronouncing all these acronyms.
Putting all the acronyms. Hey, hello.
She'll share what that means. I also should give fair warning that you should probably put headphones on because we're cussing with excitement. So if you got little ones, put those headphones on. But I have been waiting for this day to do this podcast recording with Uchechi because we started working together officially 7 months ago.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of our coaching relationship, but our friendship will forever blossom.
Yes, exactly.
But she has been killing it. So you're a CFP, RIA. Tell us what that is. And can you walk us to tell us what that is first.
Okay. So my name is Uchechi Kalu. I'm a certified financial planner, and I primarily work with women creatives and small business owners. I'm here in LA. And what a financial planner does is that we help you take all the jumbled questions that you have about your money of how can I invest? How much do I need? How much do I need to run my business and run my personal life? When can I retire? Can I buy that home? Can we have a kid? How does my money relate to all of it? We are people who know how to answer those questions from a quantitative perspective, but then also from an emotional perspective, and hopefully also then from like a spiritual perspective, so that the decisions that you're making with your money feel really aligned from a values lens.
Yeah. And I know you started your own business 7 months ago, just got the RIA today. You just posted on LinkedIn.
Yes.
I'll put that post in the show notes. But can you walk me back to, I was looking at Google Calendar, end of February of this year. The moment you decided you wanted to work with a business coach, where were you at in your career and life? And how did that experience plant the seed for you being where you're at right now?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a pretty pivotal moment because in February, the company I worked for was bought out. It was bought out by another fintech company. And I had only been there for 4 months. I had previously left just 4 months before that. I left another firm that was incredibly toxic for me, at least. Let me just say, for me, other people work there and they love it. It was not that experience for me. And so in this new work environment where I worked for 4 months, I had fallen in love with the work again. I felt that I really was bringing so much value as a certified financial planner. And it clarified for me even more of like, I want to serve women. Like I only want to work with women clients. I mean, I work with some men, but I just felt really driven that I could do this work and that I could thrive in this work and that it wasn't that I didn't like it. It wasn't that it was like too challenging, but rather that I previously just had not been in the right environment. So having been in that right environment for 4 months and just thriving, like I felt like a flower that had not been watered and immediately got enough and suddenly was a forest, like it was the best 4 months of my professional life in a kind of corporate environment. And then the merger happened and then we all got laid off. It happened all in the span of a few weeks, truly. It was so shocking. And I remember sitting at home and being like, okay, well, now I know that I want to do this. I'm going to just pick myself up on my bootstraps and do it.
And she
and
did it. She
and
did
I
it.
did it. but still, I think I spent like a few weeks or something deliberating over like a website. I didn't have any clients and I'm sitting here being like, what are the colors? Or, do you know what I mean?
I am laughing because she's not there anymore. And it feels great, I'm sure. But
I know
continue. So tell us
it
about
feels
your drama, girl. Tell us.
right. Exactly. You'll just be, and I remember just having like a few weeks on the couch being like, put this here, put this there, make the website better. I got to have a website before I start, whatever. And I'm so grateful that I don't know who, but something slapped me in the back of my head and was like, girl, you have a vision, you have the drive, you have the ambition, but you need guidance. And I'm so, so grateful for the humility that I have and that I've gained really over the course of the year and maybe over the course of my life. But I definitely had enough humility to be like, if I don't get help, if I don't get guidance, if I don't work with someone, I am not going to go anywhere. And that was me. That is not everybody's journey. Other people have other resources, whatever. I am not married. I do not have children. I do not have anybody bankrolling my dreams. I don't got no trust funds, nothing like
I'm
that.
still working on that for myself. I'm
Right?
trying to be my own trust fund kid.
Can I? My mom is always like, what do you want? I'm like, a trust fund. That's what I wanted. So, yeah. And so I just really did that calculation for myself of I can sit here and be confused, or I can try something else and I know something else is going to happen. And so that was when I looked up, like business coaches for women of color, and I found you and I was like, Elaine's my girl. I didn't even talk to anyone else. I tend to like, this
Oh
is
my
just a new,
gosh, I want to hear this.
yeah, this is just a new touchy, like intuitive thing. I have had in my past a lot of success with making a decision, really feeling out what it is that I need. And then the first thing that arises, usually for me, is the thing that I need. And you were basically the first thing that arose. Maybe there were a few other people, but like I didn't quite like something. And I felt like, okay, that's not for me. But you're the only one that I actually contacted to talk to. And I knew that it was what I wanted because I had already decided. I was like, well, Elaine's going to be here anyway. And I think she's going to be super great for the job. But I know that I'm showing up. So I figured it couldn't go wrong either way. And it turned out to be a really great experience.
So I tell people who want to start or scale their business to do target market research, which I've made you do. And I'm going to do it in real time right now with Uchechi.
Yeah.
So when you saw my website, I'm curious, how did you know what about it that you saw, read, felt? How did you know?
I think it was two things for me. I don't even know if it was necessarily the website itself, but I was really impressed by the number of reviews that you had. But I also tend to like, when I read reviews, I kind of look for not just that someone has reviewed it, but what they write about
Yeah.
themselves, do you know? And I felt that there was a consistency in terms of how folks felt that they were relating to you, and then what also they had been able to feel within themselves. I wasn't necessarily personally looking for like someone who had made $1 million in a year, because I'm a financial planner, right? So like for
Thank
me,
God I'm not that person. I'm not,
you know,
no, I mean, like, I'm not the person to like, you could make X amount in X year.
right,
Yeah. No,
right.
it's so, yeah. Go ahead.
And I don't think, no one can, nor they should truly promise this. And so I think actually having not seen that was really important to me, because I knew that what the experience that I had was actually going to be, yes, it had to be tangible and quantitative, and I was going to be taking very tangible steps for the future.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that it had to be an environment in which I was becoming something that I couldn't quite put my hand on, that I needed someone else to help kind of mold me. What also helped was listening to a few of the testimonials, or some video testimonials
Yep.
that were on your website. That was very helpful for me, because coaching can be like, what is it? So so it was good to see you relating to other people. And then I listened to quite a few episodes of the podcast to see what kinds of, advice you'd be giving, or what kinds of insight you'd be giving, and whether it felt like something that someone has read in a self-help book and is just regurgitating, right? Or if it felt like something I'd be like, oh, wow, I've never heard of that before. So I felt that if I asked you a question, you'd offer insight that I really would not have interacted with on my own. So it was actually a lot of those other pieces, a lot of what other people said. That was very helpful.
Yes. And what I want to make sure this is more of lessons and teachings for our listeners. But to hear that I asked the feedback, what made Uchechi want to do a call with me already decide. And that helps me. Like, now I'm going to take notes from even this conversation of, okay, do I have my reviews updated? Do I need to update and create new videos?
Sure.
All of that. So we don't need to talk about how 2025 is, nor the list of things that is happening this year.
Girl, just look at the news.
No, I don't want to.
It'll tell you what's happening.
Oh my gosh, there was a reel I saw today. It's like, okay, I'm scared to open social media, but I need a break from work. Please let it be a funny dog and cat dancing.
I know.
It's
and
like,
it
yes.
won't be.
And then
I'm
it's either yes, or I'm going to cuss this morning. You please put your headphones on. Or like, fuck, this just happened.
I know.
Literally.
I know.
Those two.
Girl.
So we know that starting a business in 2025, there's already crazy challenges just happening in our environment. One, and also two, AI is picking up. So for our listeners, I would love for them to learn, like, what did you do both strategically and your mindset to start and get consistent clients while we were working together?
Yeah. Okay. So I think here's the thing. I did not, for the way that financial planning works, when you leave a firm, a lot of the time you have to leave your clients with that firm. Okay. I had to do that. So I literally was starting at zero again, except for someone who was like, sometimes you meet people who are like the earliest adopters to you. And this person who willingly left the other company to continue to work with me, even as I have been like an amoeba, becoming like becoming a two-bodied whatever, that was actually very, very important. And I would say to anyone listening, like, kind of look out for the people who want to be with you along the way, no matter what, because those people are going to give you a lot of insight into the kinds of clients that are like so ecstatic about you, who love you and who you love. And there's something in financial planning wherein you're supposed to, and this is the nature of it being a very white industry, is that you're supposed to just be like incredibly neutral, have very little emotions, and leave all the emotions up to your clients. But
oh gosh, with money and people of color,
yeah, exactly,
got
right?
all
And
emotions for everything, not just money.
Yeah, not just money, right? You're really not supposed to bring yourself. You're not supposed to bring your emotions or anything. And that one client who came over, in the past year, she's become even a deeper friend and taught me the kind of one-on-one client that I'm now pursuing even more. So
that part.
Yeah. So that's not the answer to your question, but that just came up for me of like those first people really key into that.
Yes. And I want to add to that because, the work we did together to start, we did target market research, which I've talked about in other
Yeah.
podcasts of connecting with people who have been with you since the beginning. Like
Yeah.
you shared, be curious, ask questions. You're just collecting data. And even when I started my own business, I just wanted to be a coach, just general coach. I wasn't sure if it was, well, I didn't even know it was going to be women of color, but I started noticing, similar to you. Oh, women of color being attracted to me. And then I had
Yes.
allies come where they're so sweet asking me, wait, I know you work with women of color, but do you know any
But
white
will you work
coaches for me?
right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll work with you. What's up?
Yeah. Like actually, Monica has shared this, who's been in my podcast a couple of times. Like the fact that you asked, like, yes, I will work with you because the reality is we need to work together.
And I mean, I have the same experience. But last week, where someone came to me who was like, I saw you do something. I know that you don't work with white women. Or rather, she said, I'm not a woman of color. I should just tell you that, and I don't know if you'd be open to working with me. But, so other people are going to show up anyway. Although that wasn't the main thing that I did at the time to sort of find clients in this world of AI, this is something I don't think I would have really understood the importance of noticing. And the more that I did start to notice who was excited about me and who I was excited about, then it helped me start realizing more importantly, and now I'll more directly answer your question, that I could build a business that I was excited about. I could build a business of people that I was excited to meet. And so the first thing that I did that happened to be maybe a single best decision that was a catalyst for other decisions was that I was at a writing conference because I'm a poet.
Oh wait, who have you done poetry with? Go ahead,
I've
share it.
performed for the Olympics, the 2024 Paris Olympics. What's up?
I know, y'all. We had got a celebrity.
That's
If you
yes,
want an
a
autograph,
celebrity wordsmith. What's up?
celebrity wordsmith and money, so not just the words.
Yes, yes.
Anyways, go drop some bars on what you're about to share next.
Girl. I was at a writing conference that happened to be in Los Angeles. It's one of the biggest ones, and it travels every year. It happened to be in LA this year, so very serendipitous. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been there. And I was going to be there anyway, and I thought, well, why don't I just go around and start pitching them as like, hey, I'm a poet, but also I'm a financial planner. No, there's literally nobody else in this space, in this physical room.
This part,
Yes.
she found a niche because how many people? Sorry, I'm like kind of making.
No, go.
Yeah, but it's like I'm your Wall Street girly, BFF. Like when I think of financial planners, and mind you, they're not certified on Instagram. It's you kind of see the same thing. And what I've appreciated about how you've grown your business, you've done it your own way. You've done it through your passion with arts and poetry. You found this niche because, unfortunately, people have this judgment that creatives and artists don't make money. Why would I focus there?
Yeah, we're in. Actually, it's really well. It's a yes and a no. I think this curiosity that you're bringing up. I've had to become much more curious, and to check myself of like, okay, where am I saying? Where am I like placing a narrative on this thing? And where could I just be open to whatever scenario, And so I went to this conference. I started pitching myself as a financial planner who was also a poet and who could talk about money and who could talk about money from the perspective of the people that these organizations were serving. And that, hey, like nobody is ever coming and talking to artists about money because of these preconceived notions. And yet a lot of program managers from large literary arts organizations actually want to provide reasonable and important programming. And in the age of AI, where a lot of writers' jobs are being taken, so money is at threat, in the age of Trump and tariffs and all this stuff, people are talking about money even more so. There's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety. And so just from that conference that I went to, I got 2 contracts from there.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. One of them is still ongoing, and I keep on getting new work from them to do like webinars, and that's been really incredible. And from the audience that showed up from there, some of those folks have now become clients. And then it just kind of like built out from 1 to 2 to 3. And a lot of it was then kind of like word of mouth. So someone sees me here and realizes that I'm doing talks for artists consistently, and I'm talking about things that people are engaged with. And that has that process kind of built it out. But it really was in person in a lot of things.
Yeah.
It was like I had coffees with people, I had calls with people, but I also, and I will say this, that was really important and continues to be important, is that I really followed up with people. If I didn't hear back once,
Yes,
girl,
follow up is queen. I think
it's,
people forget it is queen.
yeah. And you'd be surprised. Like I got an email back from someone today that I sent months ago. And they're like, oh yeah, like let's do this. So you really never know, but you have to be persistent. And I just found that going in person, talking to people, and just pitching my services, of course, of of the whole conference, 2 people said yes. How many people said no? So many people. Like, it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
The ones that said yes have been paying my bills for this year. So it's been at least some of them. They're not paying all my bills. I'm not a millionaire. But
Yet.
that's what happened for me.
I know you talked about the strategically being curious, connecting with people. There's also the mindset piece, as you know.
Yeah.
And so often I hear from people, but I don't think I'm ready yet. And sometimes perfectionism also comes into play. You're talking about the website. I mean, you were still in the journey of working on your website up to even 7 months with me. You're like, girl, I need help.
I know.
I like sent her a video 2 weeks ago giving feedback on editing her website as she's continuing to break all this money. But yeah, I mean, you introduced yourself as a poet that does financial planning, but how did you also overcome the mindset to even like own it?
So I mentioned a little bit at the top about like humility and how humility led me to this process of asking for help. I think the process of humility also helped me walk away from iterations and ideas that didn't actually serve the larger aims of my life in this process. And so when I started, I actually I wasn't sure that I wanted to go back into investment management, but I did know that I love financial planning and that I wanted to access more people. And so I don't even know if you were here for this era. I think this is like pre-Elaine. I had this idea that I was going to do a service called Text and Advisor.
Yes, we talked
were you here
about
for that.
Oh my gosh, wait. You need to tell them where we had our first meeting.
Oh, yeah, we were in like some co-working space that Tracy Ellis Ross had that room for a while. Vibes.
I mean, how did we start it off? Yeah. I didn't even know when I booked our first session together.
Yeah. That was really great. And because my whole thing was like, I want to make this work more accessible. I want to have more people be able to access it. And then I realized like, well, how many people would I have to have on this platform to pay my bills? And I'm only one woman, and I personally don't have this vision, this dream of having this huge business where eventually I'm just a manager and other people are practitioners, right? So when I thought about this long-term vision of my life, I thought, well, actually, I really like this idea and concept, and like maybe someone else is going to take it and fucking blast it out the park. But for me and where I am right now, I have enough humility to say I can walk away from something that I said that I wanted to do now that I have more information. The next phase was that I was like, okay, well, let me do coaching. I'm not going to do investment management. I'm going to do coaching, and I want to see if I could have it at a lower price point and have folks come in that way. And what I found was that, yes, you could sell financial planning or financial coaching at a lower price point. But because of the structural issues that were emerging in those clients' lives, they weren't able to see the value of the ongoing nature of this work, the accountability that's needed to really implement what we're doing. And as I sat back, I thought, well, yes, I want to be able to have a practice that can serve more people, but I am not in service of people if I'm only having a smaller interaction with them. I know this as a financial planner. I
Yes.
know that I could whip up a financial plan,
Yes.
step one, step two, step three strategy. Most people, there are tons of statistics that show that like 75% or so of people who receive a financial plan never implement it because they don't have the accountability and they don't have the support. So I had to look at that and look at it very boldly and say, okay, yes, I might be wanting to serve X amount of people, but this isn't the way. I actually don't feel comfortable sleeping at night knowing that I'm giving a financial plan to a group of people and 75% of them are never going to know what to do with it. And they can't afford to continue working with me. I have to find another way. And that was really hard, actually. It was really hard because I'm someone who has a lot of values and principles and morals, and I will preach about them all the time. And I have to still look back and say, well, this actually in practice doesn't make any sense. Like if I keep pursuing this, it's going to be strictly on vibes. And again, I don't have someone who's paying my bills. I can't live on vibes. So I have to be realistic, but also then see where my values might lie. And it was a lot of shedding what I said I thought I wanted to do, and then looking at it more accurately and clearly and letting it go and letting something else arrive. That is around the time that the art started to emerge because this was not something that I was premeditated at all. At all. I would have never thought like that the art space, the art world would be a place where I could serve people and serve people who really needed it and have organizations. This is the important part. Organizations that paid me consistently to serve their people in deep ways. And so now I wasn't straining the pocketbook of folks that, that was their only few $1,000s that maybe that they could
Mm-hmm.
offer for this. I wasn't straining them. I'm working a budget that has hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Like I'm a drop in the bucket. And so I found actually by, again, having enough humility to shed those old ideas, being curious about what was in front of me and seeing that the art organizations were energetic about this work and also feeling as I felt that I was really in the right place and that I was really serving people that were just like me in a very deep way and also had never seen a professional truly show up and really give them the time of day. It just became the perfect place, actually, the perfect place. And I feel so grateful that I can be a poet and also do this work. And I feel so grateful that I can be a financial planner and show up in poetic spaces and just like talk about line and verse.
Yeah.
So I would say this was the process for me, to be honest.
I want to sum it up from what I heard. I was taking notes. So
Oh.
that's why my eyes were down. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
she's dropping bars. And I was like, where can I timestamp this so I could listen to it again? I hope you all felt the same way. So feel free to hit the rewind button. But I loved how you started off with like understanding what are your bigger picture life goals.
Yes.
You and I also have talked about embracing enough, especially in a capitalistic world, right?
Yes.
You came from that framework of, okay, this is how financial planning is. I've shared with you that I've also had a financial planner, but what I didn't like was the very few touch points I had, which I've shared. I wish there was more. But it's interesting. I went through it similarly with coaching because you see how everyone else, colleagues are doing it, or competitors, air quotes, and like, oh, I guess I need to do it that way. But what you were sharing is you realize, wait, let me listen to what my people want. And as you know, I just changed my services before you signed on to work with me because before it was monthly one-to-ones, but I had to hear, because I work with people of color, oh no, they need more individualized touch points. Like I need to put 2 calls a month, and I had to own, you know what? I'm working with a limited number of clients. So I appreciate that one. And 2, what I want our listeners to hear is that she tested.
Yes. Yes.
Like unafraid, unattached to something having to work to like, let me test it. But what I really appreciate throughout the 7 months we've worked together, Uchechi, and I've shared this with you in so many coaching calls, it's not just the go-getter attitude to do it. You've always provided so much spaciousness to reflect and ask yourself those hard questions. Does this align? Does this not? Like, let me go back to my values. Anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it helps. I'm a meditator. I started yoga really young, so I think these things lend to the way that my mind works. But also, I'm actually kind of emotional to think about it. I really was coming from a emotionally very dark place. Not in the job where there was a merger and the layoff, but from the previous company. And it felt, it was a very, very, very dark experience for a very long time. And so as I was emerging from that, and in some ways, I still think I am, like when I think about that space that I was in, it was really not the right fit for me. And there is a part of me in my immigrant Nigerian tenacity wherein even if something doesn't feel right, I will fight. I will make my way through it. I'll crawl, I'll jump, I'll hop, whatever it takes to succeed. And I saw how that had wore me down so much and how there was no reward in that. And so on this end of the process, I think it became really, really important for me to recognize what actually did fulfill me, what actually did make me happy, and to believe that I could find this long-term success that I wanted in that. And so this is a part of why when I was interacting with things and I just got a deep intuitive sense that it was not going to be aligned with my true aims, I felt free to let it go. It was like, can't be worse than where I was coming from. So that's, a little bit more context, I think, for what was in the back of my mind.
I appreciate you sharing that, because one of the exercises I do with clients is when they're starting a business or even changing industries is actually the reflecting from the past. I think we forget to revisit it. Like, okay, what can we learn from this? What do we not want repeated?
Yeah.
Because that's why I tell you all the time, like, oh my gosh, you are a million light years ahead of me from even my first 7 months in business.
Girl.
And I say that because I was just pushing. You were talking about the fighting analogy. Like, I just kept pushing. No, we're going to get this done. But then I started to create a business that was similar to toxic work environments I was in before.
Yeah.
Not the recent one. I had my dream job. Shout out to working at Pasadena City College Foundation. But like prior to that, like I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
I just created this monster. So I appreciate you sharing wait, let me reflect on the past and ask myself what's fulfilled me. I shared earlier, 2025 is insane. So many layoffs. You've also been in office hours with other clients where,
oh yes,
unfortunately, people are also kind of having that intuitive hit, like I might be let go or fired, and it has happened. So with someone like that going through a pivotal moment in their life and career, and perhaps wants to start a business, what advice do you have for them? Because I know you're still also learning and healing and growing from the past situation too.
Advice I would have for someone who wanted to start a business. Oh my God. I was like, girl, you better keep that job with that health insurance.
Like, don't listen to me. Just stop the episode now.
Stop the podcast. Don't be like me. I'm joking.
I know this episode is so good. And you're like, how can I get more of this? Well, I have a newsletter that comes out every Thursday that's free, fun, and full of real talk. It's a live journal Zanga on leadership and life with actual scripts, behind the scenes stories, and lessons from mistakes I've made so you don't have to for work and life. Just go to elainelou.com/join. That's ELAINELOU.com/join. All right, back to the episode.
But in a certain way, I think if you want to start a business, don't start the business believing that you will find like your freedom in it. Everything that was happening internally will continue to happen. And actually, it'll happen exponentially because it'll only be you and your thoughts and yourself and your time. And you'll be, as you're doing the work, you're going to be alone, right? So anyone starting a business, I think that's the first thing. Don't romanticize it. Don't idolize it, actually. And if you can enter it without that romanticization and without the idolization, I think you'll probably be in a great spot.
Actually, you know what? I'm writing that down. Don't romanticize and idolize it, especially as fellow millennials. I think we grew up with that. Like,
exactly.
Your job is your life. And then we see Gen Z be like, peace out. I'm doing minimum work, leaving at 5:00 on the dot.
4:59, And I think also as millennials, we grew up in an area where the entrepreneur was the god. I mean, like, and we're still living in it. Like, the god of society is the Zuckerberg. The god of society is the Bezos. Even the ghost of Steve Jobs is still a god,
I know, new iPhone's out, this
right?
time of year.
We're like, thank God, Steve Jobs, he did it for mankind. So, but I truly don't say that in jest because I don't think that starting a business is for everyone. I really, really don't. Like, there are so many elements of this wherein, like, you go from being a practitioner to having to manage systems to doing marketing to all of that stuff. So if that really doesn't sound like you, then maybe it's better to find a better environment. But if it does sound like you, then my true advice is to find something that you feel you could be in the trenches with. I feel that I could be in the trenches with financial planning because it does mean enough to me. And it's not just for fun, and it's not just for vibes, and it's not for clicks, and it's not for how someone else will see me. In fact, if it was for that, I wouldn't be doing this work at all. I would just be an artist. Okay. That's not why I'm doing it. I actually believe in this work. And so even in the hard times, I have the vision and I can keep it. And even when I have a deficit in the business and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to do this, this and that, I'm okay with that. I know that I'm going to figure it out. And so if you are going to start a business, I would really urge you to think about something that you could also be like, I don't like today. And I don't like tomorrow, and I might not even like the next year of any of this. But I believe in this work enough that I'm going to continue. And I know that I will not be swayed. And I think if it doesn't feel that strong enough for you, I would not recommend that you do it because it will test you. And then
She tests you, man. She tests you. She does.
It will continue to test you. And you will be miserable. So this, I don't know if that's what you'll remember, but that's my advice about it.
It is 2025. As millennials, I think optimism has left and realism is in. So I appreciate you being real with everybody. If I were to also add like tactical things, is if you know other business owners who are friends, ask them how it is.
Yes.
What you think their mindset is. What are challenges?
Yes.
So there's that. I appreciate you saying the enough part, and are you willing to be in the trenches with it? So
yes.
Sure, you're here listening to me and Uchechi on the podcast talking, but what you don't see is probably sometimes frustrations of looking at a spreadsheet of being like, oh, I'm not going to hit my numbers this month, but you know what? I did good the other 2 months. And I think yeah.
If you can't be that kind of hype man for yourself, this is not going to be the right life for you.
No,
I'm being for real. Like, this is so, I think I'm made for this in a strange way.
You know what? I was like, what trauma you got? I'm just kidding. Right? Don't share that.
Exactly.
No, I'm serious. I was like,
it is
I am made for this because of my trauma. Thank you, therapist. Thank you.
Like, I think I am made for this and it's silly, but I don't think everybody's made for that. But I also know, just to counter this, because we do live in the age wherein the entrepreneurs are gone. I'm not saying this from any kind of pedestal. I know that there's other kind of like work in businesses that I am actually not made for at all. And right. So you kind of just start understanding your strengths. But to add to more of it, I think so much of the American mindset is the mindset of like, you are meant to do it alone. You're meant to pull yourself by your bootstraps. Like, if you don't know what's going on, then it's your fault. if you're going to start a business, I need you to immediately dispel that. All of the business that you want is in collaboration with at least another person who's even going to buy your services. And that person does not exist in your head. They are outside. They're in the world. And so a business, it is a collaborative
Yeah.
process. It's a fully collaborative process. And I think if you are willing to be in collaboration with others, then you have a fighting chance for sure. But if you're just putting all this pressure on yourself, then like, how could you get anywhere? How would anyone even know where your business is?
So fascinating when people like, how can I build this business without talking to each other? I'm like, you can't.
You can't.
And let's say even you have a business where you do get products and services based off of social media, you are also still gathering data and connecting with people that way. So just want to remind you all that. And even what I enjoy, I mean, I'm not going to go into specifics, but when Uchechi shares like a problem or issue that arises, I'm like, okay, what system do we need to fix and update? We were just doing this in Voxer yesterday.
Yes.
You're frustrated about something. I was like, okay, girl, this gives us enough data to like start editing some stuff.
Yes.
So it's even being open to what do I need to fix and edit. And even me being 8 years into business, I can't control what happens politically, external variables. But if I notice that, hey, my clients need more individualized time with me, what does that mean? How do I need to update my services? Do I need to give other options? Yeah, it's sometimes people are like, no, let's do one and done. This is the framework. You
can't. Times are going to change. And I have to be honest with you, like when I kind of was looking out there and seeing how people were working, and also knowing what I needed at the time, had your services been once a month, I would have been like, well, I'm not going to do it, at least with you. Because I knew that I needed a lot more touch points. I knew that I was starting off, but again, in this like very formless amoeba-like form. And so much.
Should I change my messaging to I work with amoebas?
I work with amoebas. Yeah. No, don't listen to the wordsmiths. Like, we're just making stuff up. But
oh, y'all, she went to Princeton, so she's like an Ivy Leaguer with these big words. Anyways, continue. You wouldn't have worked with me after just knowing monthly.
Yeah,
but I knew that. Not specifically to you. I knew that with the feedback. I also had to be very honest with myself, even with clients about to leave. I'm like, I don't think I'm serving them the way they should be served. And going back to you, what's my values? I was like, I really want to care and nurture my clients. I remember when I sent you my first email to you and you responded back and you're like, girl, I cried. You actually cared about knowing how to pronounce my name because I was YouTube. Because how do I pronounce this?
I think I remember you doing a pretty good job. And here's the thing is like, I think what makes working with you so special and impactful is the amount of access, to be honest. And it reminded me, even in my own work, very often some planners will have like a certain number of meetings that one can have with a client or certain ways of interacting. And it actually freed me to not put my clients in these boxes of like, you can only talk to me at these times in these ways. And I have clear boundaries. It's not like they're calling me in the middle of the night. No. But in this age of, you're asking about AI and technology where we're behind so many screens, having someone who's like, hey, here's my number. I remember you called me even before I was a client. You were like, oh, there's this event. And you called me and invited me to it.
Oh, like I was like, you have to come to this because it's Black History Month. And my other client, Sheila, was doing a talk. I was like, oh, she needs to come.
Exactly. So, like that kind of stuff is so meaningful and I think so underrated. And I think you demonstrated so incredibly well. And it was a very good model for me to demonstrate it. And so when my clients are working with me, one of them, and when I've actually asked one of my long time client, like, why? Like, why does she really love working with me? And one of the things that she always mentioned, and we were talking about just a few days ago, was like how I relate to her and how easy it is to access me and talk with me. And like, if she's running late, I'm not like, well, there's the 48-hour policy. Stuff like that where you're like, okay, this is a person who has a life. I'm a person who has a life. Like, I guess my policy is always like, I want to give my clients the grace and like reliability and and responsiveness that I would want them to give to me. And I think you're really great at that.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that leads to my next question, which
Yeah.
is what are results and what have you enjoyed about working with me?
Oh, yes. So the access was actually very important. And also, I mean, you're just such an amazing person, such a fun person, and genuine person. So that was also very fun. In terms of the results, I think what's been great as I've been calculating my numbers as as a true planner is that I have a general sort of revenue goal for what it would look like to at least try and get close to breaking even. And right now we're talking it's September 2025 and I'm like 25% there, a quarter of the way there for 2026. And that feels awesome because I really had to be like, all right, even if today doesn't look like anything, I see the vision. And that was amazing because I feel like one of my first questions for you was like, how do I even like get client? I didn't even, oh, girl, I didn't know what I was doing. So that I think was really, really, really amazing. I think another thing that was really incredible for me working with you was that you opened my eyes to a different way of doing business. Right.
Oh,
And
what do you
so
mean by
for
that?
by that, if anyone listening has been in a particular industry for a long time, there's a way, quote unquote, a way that you do things, a way that you
Yeah.
get clients, the places
Hmm.
that you show up, the things you should be doing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. I found it incredibly valuable that you are not in the same industry as me. So when you'd be like, oh, go to this like government procurement like workshop.
The amount of emails I have forwarded to Uchechi, I mean, that is benefit to living in LA with me.
Right, right.
I'm like,
That,
come with me.
yeah, come with me to this like I was like, okay, or like, come with me to this thing about like minority certifications and what I have legitimately never, ever, ever, ever heard of any of these things. And yeah, but this was so important. And like, going back to that curiosity, I was like, oh my God, if I'm serving business owners and these organizations have business owners that do completely different things than what I do, no one else is a financial planner, then this is actually the perfect environment for me to be. Even if I just see it as market research to understand more of what it is that they're truly concerned about, you know? But even to see myself as like, oh, I could be a government contractor. Well, actually, that makes sense because there are very, very, very large financial institutions that do that. And it's the smaller ones that, that I've worked with that they're smaller compared to these big banks that just like don't think about business in those ways. And that was really exciting to see that a way of sort of setting yourself apart is by being in rooms where no one else is there like you.
This part, because I was caught up like you, Chachi. I was in rooms, other coaches,
Yeah.
other people online. So I figured, oh, well, if this is the framework I'm spending a lot of money with, let me copy and paste this. And I was just done. I was like, there has to be another way.
Yeah.
And also asking ourselves a deeper question, why did we get into this work in the first place?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did we want to do this work? Why did
Yeah.
we? And asking that deep question made me like, I'm going to get the analogy of being a single woman. Like, let me date other types of
Right.
events. Let
Literally.
me
Yes.
let me try this. Like, oh, this is new, like government
Mm-hmm.
agents. Oh, okay. And also the curiosity part, right? I mean, you found me because of SEO, but that happened because after 3 years of posting stuff on social media all the time, I'm like, wait, okay, how am I getting clients? Referrals? That's easy. But the people that are finding me, what words are they using to find me? Oh,
Yeah.
let me focus on SEO. I had the curious perspective to figure out what's happening as opposed to let me see what everyone else is doing and I'm
Yes,
gonna do a copy
exactly.
and paste model.
Yeah. Because you cannot. And it also just doesn't, there's so much more excitement in finding what could actually work for you than copying, pasting, and hoping that there's some kind of like secret pill to success. Wherein,
We always do, right? Career
yeah,
ladder, right? I mean, there's obviously certain jobs like a doctor, I
yeah,
understand you have to follow steps with it, but with entrepreneurship, it's a jungle gym.
it absolutely is. And you're building it on your own. And I think something else that was so honestly powerful for me were the office hours, especially when there were other people there because as I mentioned before, I don't think that everyone should start their own business. But I think that if you do start your own business, it is important to be with other people who understand the trenches that you're in. Because if you go from being a W-2 employee to running your own thing, it is so dramatically different. Every single part of it is dramatically different, that even when you are experiencing something that's absolutely normal as an entrepreneur, you're going to feel like you're failing. You're going to feel like this is only you. You're going to feel like it's just your problem. And so I love going to the office hours, and something that you're so skilled about and just in facilitation is that very often, let's say that I brought up a concern that I was dealing with, and you saw even just someone nodding their head. You didn't center yourself. You'd be like, oh, so and so, I see you nodding. What would you like to say? And so very often you felt that it was not you, Elaine, but rather the group, the aggregate that was feeding into each other. And this is so powerful because we have so much collective knowledge. And I think in that decentralizing of yourself and actually propping up the members of the group, even for some, we've been able to build like friendships and relationships that were outside of you. But that particular spirit of being so supported in a group of women and getting just this beautiful, beautiful knowledge and wealth of experience that's coming from, in some cases, not just around the country, but around the world, I think is kind of irreplaceable. And there are many moments where I'm like, this feels, we were on the call, like, I think last week or the
I
week
know what you're
before.
about
It's
to
like,
say.
it just feels like church. Like, I feel like, and I don't go to church. I don't go to church anymore. I did that.
I promise I don't think I'm God or Jesus. Okay. I'm
No.
not that type of coach.
No. I'm like, I'm a Southerner. I've been to a lot of churches, not like that. But there is something about, if you've ever been to like a Black church service in particular, where they talk about you feel the spirit. You feel, but I say that so seriously because a spirit can only emerge when a group of people have come together to create something themselves that's bigger than themselves. And that's often how I feel like when it's a large group of folks in the office hours, is like, I feel like we're creating something that's bigger than ourselves, but that's really feeding our souls. And this can only happen in community.
Yeah. I reflect on like, okay, what have I learned from past situations to even fix that? Because I was also in rooms of other coaches, right? We want to be with our same
Yeah.
people because we think, but then I didn't like how they were doing it. I didn't
Yeah.
like how, oh, you're like the celebrity and I'm a minion that should be so grateful to be in your
Yeah.
presence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have 5 minutes to share the question I have. That's all I got. Like,
Yeah.
and I appreciate you giving me that feedback because how I like starting office hours or even talks, I always say, I'm not the only expert here. We all
Yeah.
have different lived experiences. I'll pull in different experts. If anyone was kind of teetering, should I work with Elaine or not? What would you share with them?
I say, hell yeah. I'm like, is there anything else to say? So my advice for anyone who wants to work with you, if you're generally unsure about whether Elaine is a good fit or not, or if you're ready or not, then just don't do it. Actually, don't do it. It's better to maybe have some other experiences. It's better to have more time. It's better maybe even to sit longer on your couch and create the website or recreate the website, right? So that when you do arrive at this experience, that you are ready to utilize Elaine for her wealth of experiences, wealth of resources. Like, I wouldn't want you to arrive here and just expect her to pave the path for you, because it's not actually what happens. It's like, I think you have to have the fire to want it, and Elaine will meet you exactly there.
Oh, I want to compliment you though.
Yeah.
I knew you were going to fucking kill it these 7 months because you did have that fire.
Thank you. Yes. This the Niger girl in me now. So
You fighter.
yes. But I think, I really do think so, because I feel like that hunger in my own self of like really wanting to go after it helped me then be creative in ways that I wouldn't have been, and then ask you questions that could have only emerged because I was very open to this experience, and I wasn't like what's Elaine going to tell me to do? But rather that, you know.
Yeah, I appreciate you girls saying that. I think so often people think it's like, okay, you're going to tell me what to do. But I have to write even people when I meet them for the first time. It's like, I will guide you,
Yes.
give you frameworks, powerful questions to think and reflect on. But it's up to you to like do that inner work of like, is this aligned to me or not? As you gather the data from people or even
Yes.
update my message. Like, for example, Uchechi shared earlier that she was a poet for the Paris Olympics. So I remember she shared that one time in one of our coaching calls. I was like, Uchechi, why is this
yes.
not on your website or everywhere?
Right.
You need to say that over and over again. And so I invited Uchechi to an event. It was a certified minority-owned business event.
Yeah.
She introed herself that way. She's like, oh yeah, and I'm a poet. I was a poet for the 2024 Paris Olympics. Do you know how many people dropped their jaws?
I know. I mean,
they're like, I was like, Uchechi,
that's
like,
what
why
you
did
gotta
you
start
have
with.
this?
I know. I didn't. And that's the shit like that where you're like, I genuinely, and it's not, it's something I'm very proud about, but I was still at a point where I wasn't really putting two and two together that would even be valuable.
It's testing, like we said in the beginning.
And having someone there who can reflect back to you. And so I think the second kind of person that is actually a very great fit is someone who is driven but unsure about which idea they should best pursue from like a more intuitive perspective, but then also like a logical perspective. Yeah. And I think that you have a lot of exercises and resources that people can do to look at like, okay, I feel like I might get fired. I feel like I need to change my life. I feel like I want to start a business and I have all these different things that are here, but I'm in this like analysis paralysis mode and I'm not quite sure which one I should attack, but I feel very driven to figure out that thing. I think you're very skilled at helping folks like go from like a jumble of ideas to something more specific and feel that they've truly tested it out as they're going into it. So it's not just this like leap of faith or just vibes or because my mama says she loved me, not stuff like that. But like, oh, I've interviewed people, I've tested out of myself, I've gone in these different spaces, I've pitched, whatever. And now I know that not only do I like doing this or love doing it from an intuitive space, but that whatever my aims are and however I want to be monetarily rewarded in the marketplace, that there will be alignment there. So I think that's the second kind of person that could be a very good fit for you.
Yeah. I want to go back to like, we were talking about testing and jumbled. Even in my business 8 months in, and I posted it just today, I just hosted my first self-defense workshop. And I've had
it's very cool.
I've had a passion for martial arts like for 21 years. And I didn't think I could add this to my business. I mean, it makes sense. I do business and executive coaching for women of color and allies. So why not add this education on safety in real world scenarios? And when I mean real world scenarios, like what happens if someone bear hugs you or if someone robs your home? Like I was just like, wait, and it's fun and exciting. But we've talked about a lot of the process of how to deal with pivots. We talked about me. Just a little teaser for all of you. If you're like, no, I don't want Uchechi to go. She's coming back for a second episode. Don't worry. Because I really do love Uchechi's framework and talking about money in the way she does. So I would love for you to tease our audience a little bit about the work you do, how you can help people. And we'll go more in depth in the next episode.
Yeah. So I think what really makes my practice different is that I've developed a 3-part framework that I've found it helps around like 3 main levers that we tend to experience around money. 1, emotional dysregulation and kind of dealing with trauma or dealing with family histories. 2, just being a bit confused about how to manage all the numbers, all the moving numbers that are quite complicated in our lives. And then 3, the need for ongoing support in order to actually implement it. So this wheel, I just call it like the AAA method for money and investing. And that first phase is called awareness. The second phase is called analysis. And the third phase is called accountability. And ultimately, I found in my work as a financial planner that these 3 things, when they work in tandem, are what help catapult not just like wealth, because this wealth is, it can be fleeting. The markets go up, the markets are going to go down, life is going to change. But wealth really is this ongoing process of deepening your values, I think, and using your money to live more and more and more aligned with your values. And I find that it takes a 3-part process. So that's what we'll talk more about.
All right. So you're going to have to follow and subscribe this podcast for you to be alerted when the episode's going to drop. Uchechi, thank you so much. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And I'm very, very grateful for you.
And I'm not sad because I'm going to keep forwarding you emails
I know.
to see you
I'm
at
like,
events.
whatever. Now we're besties. It's fine.
I joke around, like my goal with clients, like, sure, the results are amazing, but the goal is like, I want a ring of friendship.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
what I want. I want to collect
take
rings
a blood
like.
oath. I'm just going to take it to the next level. Just a full-on blood oath.
I appreciate and love you, Uchechi.
Love you too.
If this conversation resonated with you, because it did for me, I was taking notes in my journal. This is why I love coaching, because it's not just my clients learning from me, it's me learning from them. I really meant it in the interview where when I am even with my clients, I share with them, I'm not the only expert here. There is wisdom in you, in your past experiences, and it is only you that will know how to trust and acknowledge your voice and what's important for you moving forward. So for you, the listener, whether maybe you are rebuilding after a layoff, getting fired, or maybe you're worried one or the other might happen, or maybe you are dreaming of starting your own thing, your own business, just a reminder that you can. And I hope Uchechi's story reminded you that it is possible, even in a hard year like 2025. Oh, this decade, let me tell you. And if you know someone that would resonate with this episode, please share this with them. The reason being is that I created this podcast as a free, accessible resource for others. And if you want the same type of clarity and support for yourself, like what Uchechi got from working with me, let's talk. You can schedule an introductory coaching call with me at elainelu.com/call. That's ELAINELU.com/call. The links are also in the show notes if you need to look. And if this episode made you feel seen, supported, or even slightly more optimistic in other alternatives of your career, then I'd love for you to leave a 5-star rating and review. It helps more women of color and allies like you find this show. All right, me and Uchechi will talk to you in a few weeks.